A new episode of Just in Time starts right now. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Just in Time. As you can tell, I'm wearing a hoodie because, according to Geraldo Rivera, I look more threatening in a hoodie. Now, I know I'm white, so I don't actually have a chance of getting shot in one of these, but I thought I might add some extra oomph to the whole spiel today, what I'm saying, and I'm actually going to talk about healthcare. Because this week, the Supreme Court is hearing the case of whether or not Obama's healthcare law, and it's not really Obama's healthcare law, it's the Democrats' healthcare law that Obama passed. They call it ObamaCare, but, you know, the president gets blamed for everything. But they're going to see whether or not it's unconstitutional. And, of course, the thing they're focusing on mainly is the mandate, because it's mandating that you purchase insurance, health insurance, sort of in the same way they mandate that you purchase car insurance, except it's at the federal level and not at the state level, like ObamaCare, for example. But it's the same basic kind of idea. But is it unconstitutional? It depends on your perspective on the Constitution. Now, I got my own perspective. I'm about to say it in a second, but basically the two arguments here. The argument for unconstitutionality is that, well, the Constitution doesn't grant the authority to the federal government to mandate the purchase of anything, much less health insurance, which is a very important, part of our economic well-being. And to have the federal government mandate that seems pretty intrusive. And, of course, the Constitution doesn't give any direct power over that. But of course, the Constitution is a negative document, meaning that you don't decide that, if it doesn't prohibit me from doing something, I can do it. That's not the way it works. It's if it doesn't tell you you can do it, you can't do it. And it's not to the people, it's to the government. The government can't do anything not expressly given to it in the Constitution. And that's why the 10th Amendment is very important in pointing that out, that if it's not expressly given to the federal government, it's left to the states or to the people, respectively. So that's, pretty much even the other side kind of goes along with that. But their argument is that the Commerce Clause, meaning that the government has the authority to regulate interstate commerce, which they do. And, of course, to regulate means to keep regular. That was the original meaning of the word regulate, not to control, but to keep regular, to keep legal and safe and, all that kind of stuff. So I don't really see how they can construe that to say you can mandate insurance, but they've construed it to mean a lot of other things. And I suppose if you can construe it to mean whatever you want, then the government can do whatever it wants. And there's really no point in the 10th Amendment saying only the express powers given to the federal government. Because if the federal government can do whatever it wants, there are no express powers. It's just all implicit. And I think that's completely goes against what the Founding Fathers were trying to put in the Constitution. But, so I do agree that it's unconstitutional. And I hope the Supreme Court, in fact, I think they will, because they're mostly conservative judges on the Supreme Court. So I think they probably will find it unconstitutional, and that's going to be a great landmark. But will it really change much in healthcare? Will it really improve things? I know either way for me, I don't get health insurance. Even the ObamaCare law, you have to, your parents have to have a job for you to get it up till you're 26, and I'm 22, and my parents, one of them is dead, and the other one is retired. So I'm screwed, and I don't have a job that provides health insurance anyways. So even Obamacare doesn't give me health insurance, whether it's mandated or not. And if it's gone, I still don't have health insurance. So either way for me, I'm still hoping I don't ever get sick, which, I got a pretty good immune system going. I keep drinking these, so good luck to myself. But, the argument against it, really, it isn't just the mandates. The Tea Party is out there protesting it, and some religious groups, as well as people are protesting in favor of it, against the Supreme Court finding it unconstitutional, if that is the case. But they're calling it socialized medicine, and that's the one thing that gets me from the other side, because I'm against this bill. I'm against government intervention in the medical field altogether. I think it should be free markets. Constitution doesn't give any authority for the federal government to have any control over healthcare. And I think it would be cheaper. We would have more choices. Insurance itself would be cheaper, as well as the medical care itself. So, that's what I want. But is it socialized medicine? No. People don't really know what the word socialist means. In a socialized healthcare system, if you want to know what that looks like, go to Canada, go to Sweden. I mean, the United Kingdom has pretty much a socialized healthcare system at this point. Pretty much any European country does, and they're all bankrupt because of it. But basically, the people you pay in. It's a single payer system. You pay your taxes, and you get free healthcare. The government has complete control over the healthcare industry. That's not what Obamacare does. All it does is it builds on an already broken system, which is kind of a corporatocracy. Insurance agencies, they give money to politicians, and so do the pharmaceutical agencies, and the FDA is very corrupt and involved in this as well. And basically, it subsidizes them, because by mandating insurance, the insurance companies are going to make a hell of a profit off of this. So, it's not socialized healthcare. It's still private profit. The government can mandate that you're giving money to a private company, and that's what's really, really terrible about this. It is unconstitutional, but it's not. I don't even know why liberals are supporting this, because it's the government mandating that corporations, insurance companies, can get your money. And even before Obamacare, though, without this, you have government intervention into the medical industry, lots of subsidization, lots of controls over what we can put in our own bodies. Pharmaceutical agencies pay a lot of money to make sure that their drugs are put on the market and approved by the FDA, but the FDA certainly isn't about to approve any alternative forms of medicine because they don't have a lot of money. Not that I'm all alternative medicine. Let's lay off the drugs, man. You need drugs to live just as much as you need vitamins. So it's not that. I'm not homeopathy here versus the modern drugs. I'm not getting into that, but I'm just saying the government needs to get out. They need to let people make their own choices, and the cost would come down. Used to, back in the good old days when I wasn't even alive, doctors and hospitals used to charge the least amount. That's the way the market works. You charge the least that you can charge so that you get more customers. But when the insurance agencies started getting involved, and the pharmaceutical agencies and government, now that you are required to have insurance, or not required to have insurance, but basically it's required to be attached to your employer. You can no longer just go out like you buy car insurance, even though that's mandated. You can't just go out on a market and say, oh, which one do I want to choose? Or, like life insurance, which life insurance I want to get. It's basically whoever you're employed by gives you your insurance. And that's the way the government has set it up, and you can't purchase it across state lines and a whole bunch of other stuff. And this has caused medical costs to rise, because now that insurance is involved, they charge the most amount of money. So that it's not you they're charging your insurance company. So they charge however much they want, and that's why the price has been going up, and of course the weakening of the dollar is involved in that as well. But my point here is that you have to get government out. But as far as the Obamacare bill itself and whether or not it is constitutional, it isn't. The mandate part itself, but neither is the medical system we had before Obamacare. It's still a broken system. It's still unconstitutional. So do I really think that this case is going to determine a lot for the American people? Not really. The Tea Partiers might be happier because something that Obama did got defeated. Big deal. But the healthcare system is going to remain broken. I still don't have insurance. I still can't afford insurance. I still can't get a job with insurance. Jobs are still going out of the country. The dollar is still weakening in value, and prices are still going up. So, it's kind of overblown in importance. I'll be happy to see that it's gone. That no Obamacare, because that's just another layer on top of all these layers that's been building for years. But until we start getting a new philosophy about what the role and purpose of government is, until we start understanding the way markets work and people get economic literacy back in our schools, back in this country, we are going to continue to go down this rat hole in every sector of our economy. We're going to continue to go further into debt. And that's why I don't really see this as that big of a deal. It's certainly not for me, and I don't think most Americans, even though the Tea Partiers will, be all celebratory, or they might be crying if the Supreme Court finds otherwise, and of course all the Obama supporters are going to be vice versa. It doesn't really matter that much to me. The healthcare system is still broken. I think that's pretty much about all I wanted to cover. Give healthcare back to the people. That's all I ask. That's all anyone really needs, is for healthcare to be given back to the people, away from the federal government. It's all unconstitutional. All of it. All right. This has been another episode of Just in Time. Next week, I'm going to talk about one of my favorite people on the planet, Rick Santorum, again, because he just keeps giving me material. So, until next time,